Jaya Gopi Jana Bhalabha Giribharadhari Gopi Jana Bhalabha Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari I'm gonna fix the sound. Jai Vishnupad Paramhansa Parivrajacharya Ashtottara Sata Shishimat Bhaktivedanta Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Granthara Sriman Bhagavatam Ki Nitai Gaura Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Shishiguru and Shiguranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So close. Okay. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, the Summon Bonum, Chapter 87, the Prayers by the Personified Vedas, text number 33. Vijita Hrishika Bhajubhir Adanta Manasturagam Jaiha Jatanti Jantu Atilolan Upayakida Vyasana Santavitas Vyasana Santamvitas Sama Bahaja Gurus Charanam Vanijaiva Yashantya Krita Karna Darajaladau Vijita Hrishika Bhajubhir Adanta Manasturagam Jaiha Jatanti Jantum atilolan upayakidha. Vyashana santab Vyashana satambita sama Bahaja guruscharanam. Vanija ivajashan Vanija ivajashantyakri Vanijaiva Vanijaivajasantyakri Takarna darajaladau. Vijita hrishika bhajubhir adanta manasturagam. Jaiha jatanti jantum atilolan upayakida. Vyashana shantabita Vyashana santambita sama Bahaja guruscharanam. Vanijaiva jashantyakri takarna darajaladau. Please, Chan. Vijita hrishika bhajubhir adanta manasturagam. Jaiha jatanti jantum attilolang upayakida. Vyashana santambita sama Bahaja guruscharanam. Vanijaiva jashantyakri takarna dharajaladau. Vijita, conquer. Rishika, with senses. Bhajubhi, and vital air. Adanta, not brought under control. Manaha, the mind. Turagam, which is like a horse. Ye, those who, iha, in this world, yatanti, endeavor, yantum, to regulate, ati, very, lolam, unsteady, upaya, by the various methods of cultivation, kidaha, distress, vyashana, disturbances, sata, by hundreds, and vitaha, join, samabahaya, abandoning, guruho, of the spiritual master, charanam, the feet, banija, merchants, iva, as if, aja, O unborn one, shanti, they are, akrita, having not taken, karmadhara, a helmsman, jaladhau, on the ocean, translation and purport by the disciples of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. The mind is like an impetuous horse that even persons who have regulated their senses and breath cannot control. Those in this world who try to tame the uncontrolled mind, but who abandon the feet of the spiritual master, encounter hundreds of obstacles in their cultivation of various distressful practices. O unborn Lord, they are like merchants on a boat in the ocean who have failed to employ a helmsman. Purport. To become qualified to obtain love of Godhead, the mature fruit of liberation, one must first subdue the rebellious material mind. Though difficult, this can be achieved when a person replaces his addiction to sense gratification with a taste for the higher pleasures of a spiritual life. But only by the favor of the representative of Godhead, the spiritual master, one can gain this higher taste. The spiritual master opens the eyes of the disciple to the wonders of the transcendental realm, as indicated in the Gayatri prayers by the seed mantra of divine knowledge, Aim. The Mundaka Upanishad 1.2.12 states, Tat Vigyartan Sagurum Ababiga Chet Samit Pani Sortiyam Brahmanishtam. Quote, to understand these things properly, one must approach with firewood in hand a spiritual master who is learned in the Vedas and firmly devoted to the absolute truth. End of quote. And the Katha Upanishad 2.9 declares, Naisha Tarkena Matir Apaneya Proktaineva Sugyanaya Preshta. Quote, this realization, my dear boy, cannot be acquired by logic. It must be spoken by the exceptional qualified spiritual master to a knowledgeable disciple. End of quote. Non-Vaishnavas often disregard the importance of surrendering to a spiritual master who stands in an authorized line of disciplic succession. Relying instead of their own abilities, proud yogis and jnanis exhibit their apparent success to impress the world, but the glory is but temporary. Junjananam abhaktanam pranayama akshinavashanam rajam drishyate punar uttitam. Quote, the minds of non-devotees who engage in such practice as pranayama are not fully cleansed of material desires. Thus, O king, material desires are again seen to arise in their minds. End of quote, Srimad Bhagavatam 10.51.60. On the other hand, a humble, a steadfast devotee of Lord Vishnu and of the Vaishnavas is assured of easy victory over the stubborn mind. He need not concern himself with performing the eightfold system of yoga or taking other such measures to keep his mind steady. Sarvan chaita garau bhaktya Purusho hyang yasha yayet. Quote, a person can easily obtain all these goals simply by being devoted to his spiritual master. End of quote. Otherwise, a non-devotee may conquer his senses and vital air and still fail to tame his mind, which will continue to run wild like an unbroken horse. He will suffer unending anxiety over the troublesome execution of various spiritual practices. And in the end, he will remain just as lost in the vast material ocean as he ever was. The analogy given here is very appropriate. A group of merchants who hastily enter upon a sea voyage with expectation of great profit, but who fail to hire a competent helmsman for their boat, will simply experience great difficulty. The Bhagavatam declares the importance of a bona fide spiritual master in many places, such as this verse from the 11th canto, 20.17. Nideham adyam shulabham sudurlabham plavansa kalpam guru karnadharam majanukele nabaswat teritam pumabhabhim nataresa atmaha. Quote, the human body, which cannot award all benefits in life, is automatically obtained by the laws of nature. Although it is a very rare achievement, this human body can be compared to a perfectly constructed boat, having the spiritual master as the captain and the instructions of the personality of Godhead as favorite winds impelling it on its course. Considering all these advantages, a human being who does not utilize his human life to cross the ocean of material existence must be considered the killer of his own soul. End of quote. Therefore, the first business of one who takes human life seriously is to find out a spiritual master who can guide him in Krishna consciousness. Sridhar Swami prayers, Jada Paramananda Guru Babet Pade Padam Manume Bhagabal Labeta Tada Nirashtakila Tada Nirastakila Sadhanasramaha Sayeya Saukyam Bhavata Kripata. Quote, oh, transcendentally blissful Guru, when my mind finally achieve a place at your lotus feet, oh, the tiresome labor of my spiritual practices will be finished, and by your mercy I will experience the greatest happiness. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Ummilitangena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutale Shrimate Prabhupada Swami Iti Namine. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirveshesha Shunyavadi Pashatya Deshatarine Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindu Vyayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. Happy Gaur Purnima, Prabhu. It's an auspicious day, and reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, this verse highlights the difficulty that is there, actually, basically, the impossibility almost to fully control one's mind without following the given process that is specifically designed for this purpose by the personality of Godhead. Krishna, he manifests this world for a very clear and specific purpose, which is in one sense to facilitate the desire of the living entity to enjoy or to try to enjoy apart from him. A desire that arises from the capacity that we have as living entities of free will. Free will is necessary in the living entity to be able to manifest the the how you say the expression or the quality of love. Love is something that is not forced. If it's forced, then it's not love. So love is by choice. So choice is necessary. Icha, that's the term. Term is icha, means our free will. So by our free will, we desire to experience what it will be to enjoy apart from Krishna. What it will be if I have Krishna's position at the personality of Godhead. If I am the supreme enjoyer. So by that reason, then Krishna creates this world to facilitate that desire. But the fact is that in reality, it's like a playground. It's not real. It's like, you see people sell these toys for children, like a toy, like a little kitchen or something like that, plastic kitchen with pots and all the things. And the kids will play, like see mother cooking, and they will play cooking. But it's not real. There's no fire, there's no food, there's no cooking. It's something that appears like that, but is not real. So similarly, we're given this playground in which we can try to play to be the supreme enjoyer, but it's not possible. Within that, Krishna creates a system by which we can regain again our consciousness. Because as soon as we enter this material world, then we get covered by the illusory energy of the Lord. And to overcome that illusory energy is duratyaya, is very, very, very difficult. Basically impossible. And chief among the elements that are there to create this illusion within the living entity is the mind, the contaminated mind. So to control the mind is at the center of the process that is given there by the personality of Godhead. The process that Krishna gives, that is designed within this cosmic manifestation for living entities to be able to regain again their position, is called yoga. Yoga comes from the word yuj, Sanskrit word, which means to link with the Supreme, to relink. So the process of yoga is meant for that. It's meant to connect with the Supreme Lord. So the Lord is the Supreme Creator. So he creates these manifold levels of yoga that they all meant to actually elevate and elevate and elevate. Our spiritual teachers in our line, they describe this as the yoga ladder. So there is steps. So there's particular types of yoga within. At the end is all elevating yourself until up to the top practice of yoga, which is bhakti. Krishna declares that in the Bhagavad Gita, that the process of bhakti is supreme, is the highest of all. So, however, at the center of all the process of yoga, according to the different levels of consciousness of the people, at the center of those processes of yoga is to be able to reach controlling the mind. The mind is pivotal for this thing. So we have all these different, specifically in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna divides it into three main process of yoga. One that have to do with the body, one that have to do with the intellect, with the subtle body, and one that have to do with the heart. With the body, we have karma yoga or kriya yoga, that is by actions. So you engage your body in the process of yoga to elevate and being able to control the mind. At the end, really, the whole thing is about controlling the mind. Once you control the mind, then you're able to focus properly on the next levels, which is meditation, and which is focusing on the personality of Godhead. So, karma yoga by actions. By actions, I'm able to elevate. Then jnana yoga is by intellect, by using the power of, accumulating knowledge. Then similarly, I'm able to, by the process of understanding and accumulation of knowledge, I come to these natural conclusions and practices. And then there is bhakti yoga that have to do with the heart. In bhakti yoga, we reach, or we give an entrance to this relation, is divine relationship with the personality of Godhead. It is said that it's from the heart, because in the seat of the heart is where these emotions of affection and love, in general, once it comes from the heart, the connection that is there. Love is related to the heart. In general, people don't think, you see in whatever, what is that celebration? February, Valentine, Valentine Day. It's all about hearts. So it is true. It is love is within the heart, and when we reach that, the process of yoga that focus on loving service and evoke, reawaken and evoking this this relationship, loving relationship with the personality of Godhead and his devotees, then that is bhakti, and that is supreme. And the Bhagavad Gita explains that both action and knowledge, cultivation of knowledge, supports this practice of bhakti yoga. So, in other words, Krishna has a system. Krishna has a system, regardless of what type of yoga you, regardless of what type of yoga you're practicing, there is a system. There is a system that is required. And there's a system that is required to follow. And within that system, another fundamental element that is required to achieve success in advancing in the process of yoga is surrendering to the spiritual master. When Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita is telling Arjuna, now listen carefully, that after explaining Sankhya to Arjuna in terms of understanding the nature of the soul, the nature of the spirit, then he goes to say, now I'm going to explain to you how you act. So karma yoga, how you act. And how you can act in this world in such a way that you don't become entangled by the reactions of action. So then, in order to do that, in order to be able to function, and when we talk about this process of acting, is very much tailored for conditioned souls that are very much invested in this world and have attachment, have aspirations and desires. So Krishna gives Arjuna this process of acting, acting in devotion, acting in bhakti, but acting. So as he presents this to Arjuna, he establishes that in order to be able to do this, you require transcendental knowledge. And in order to achieve transcendental knowledge, you require to surrender to a spiritual master. A spiritual master, Krishna established, that comes in this parampara lineage. Evam parampara praptir iman rajarshayo vidhu. Krishna tells Arjuna in the 4th chapter that this imperishable science of yoga, he calls it an imperishable science, meaning that it comes from the very beginning, is Krishna's design. So this imperishable science that he has imparted to the sun god, but it's the same imperishable science that he imparted to Lord Brahma in the beginning of the creation. And the same imperishable science Brahma transmitted to Narada Muni. The narrations of that instructions is in the 2nd chapter, in the 2nd canto of the Bhagavatam. Narada received instructions from Lord Brahma. Narada, in terms, instructed Srila Vyasadeva. That is also explained in the 1st canto of the Bhagavatam, chapter 5. Vyasadeva then in turn instruct Madhava Acharya, and so on. We receive that. Lord Chaitanya comes in the line of Madhava Acharya, so we are in that lineage. We are in that lineage. And so that is the principle. We approach a spiritual master, we inquire submissively and render service, and the spiritual master, being pleased with the sincerity and the determination of the disciple, he teaches the essence of transcendental knowledge, which is who is Krishna, who we are, and what is our relationship. In text number 35 of chapter 4, Krishna says that the spiritual master, being pleased, he teaches the disciple that he is Krishna's, that he is an eternal energy of Krishna. He belongs to Krishna. Krishna later in the Bhagavad Gita says that the living entity, Jiva Bhuta Sanatanan, eternally, they are his parts and parcels. So the system is established to be able to progress or to practice yoga. You have to follow Krishna's principle or Krishna's design. You have to accept a spiritual master, and not just any spiritual master. You have to accept a spiritual master which is bona fide, a representative of Krishna. And that is, it have to be within this lineage, this disciplic succession, parampara. That is how it's designed. There's no way around it. If we try to go around it, then it won't happen. The desired result won't happen, which is starting with controlling the mind and then forget about the rest. You can't approach anything else without controlling the mind. So it is explained here by the Shrutis that even those yogis that are quite adept and even advanced in the process of asana and pranayam cannot go to the next stage, and that mind, this is yama, niyama, asana, pranayam, and then comes a pratyahara, controlling the senses. And then dharana. When you control the senses, then you're able to control the mind. That's where the mind gets control. And then you can do dharana, which is a focus meditation. And then dhyana, which is actual meditation in the form of the Lord within the heart, the super soul. It's all directed, it's all explained. And then samadhi. So then that's an eightfold. Even with the spiritual master, like Arjuna, Arjuna had a spiritual master, Krishna, and Krishna is instructing him about the eightfold process of yoga, Astanga yoga, in the 6th chapter. And Arjuna said, it's impractical for me. And is to control the mind is very, very difficult. It's like controlling the wind. But Krishna say, yeah, it's difficult. But because you are following the principle of surrendering to a spiritual master, then it's possible. It's difficult, but it's possible. How is it possible? What is the secret? By, what is the Sanskrit word? Abhyasa and Vairagya. Abhyasa and Vairagya. Abhyasa means by constant practice and renunciation, you can actually achieve the goal of controlling the mind. So with the spiritual master, it will be possible. One is because it's Christian system, and specifically here, it's explained by the blessings of the spiritual master, one should be able to. And in our own practice, we see that when the relationship with the spiritual master is strong, then even though advancement at times, depending of how thick our condition may be, there is progressive advancement, slow advancement, but progressive because of the spiritual master's blessings. Because of the blessings of the spiritual master, then we're able to maintain this constant progress, purifying ourselves. So the spiritual master gives us the practice of bhajana kriya, and by the practice of bhajana kriya, then we start the process of anartha nivriti, which is cleansing of the heart. And the spiritual master gives us, Prabhupada explains, our swadharma. According to our nature, we've been engaged. For us, it's important to be engaged in devotional service because the way we're conditioned to act in this world, so the process, the system that Krishna has given for people like most of us is that we've been engaged in everything we do. We learn how to offer that to Krishna. Everything you do, everything you eat, everything you offer, everything you perform, the sacrifices, austerities, you do that as an offering to me. Krishna explains to Arjuna. That is the process that we have to actually be able to control the mind. And without it, no. It is explained that even if you neglect the lotus feet of the Lord, in which the spiritual master is situated, the spiritual master is called Vishnu Pada. We worship him as Vishnu Pada. Namam Vishnu Padaya. He is situated in the lotus feet of the Lord. He's there. He represents the lotus feet of the Lord. So if we neglect that, it doesn't matter what we do. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're a powerful transcendentalist. It doesn't matter. You will fall down from that position. And your mind is considered vimukta maninas. Your mind is it have this illusion, is completely covered by this delusion of superiority because avishuddha bhutaya, because of uncontaminated intelligence. Yeniera vindaksha vimukta maninas tvayi ashta bhava avishuddha bhutaya. What is the rest? No. I can remember that. But, the last part is Adanti Pato Yusman Angrajaha. That very soon they will fall down from that position of superiority, imaginary superiority, because of neglecting the lotus feet of the Lord. So even great yogis, after so much austerities, they will fall down from that position of so-called liberation. So it's important. It is not important. It's fundamental. It's necessary. is what's the word when you say that is something is have to be in essential, but there's one word that I'm looking for. There's no choice. There's no alternative. There's just no alternative. You have to accept a spiritual master, a bona fide spiritual master, and surrender to it. Then with impersonalists, they do accept a spiritual master. We see that. They accept a master, but the master is just a stepping stone. Once you start to advance, and you can neglect and reject like that. So then the impersonalism, which is um, very much pervading all the different practices of religion, is it doesn't reach the heart. So therefore, you don't really develop a deep, loving relationship. At best, we observe that it becomes more like a sentimental thing that um, as you go on with practices of austerities and regulations and all that, uh, because it's a shallow sentiment, it just dissipates. And what it reveals is hard-hearted, very selfish, self-centered disposition. And at the end, all those things get exposed when, especially when you have to, um, when your perceived self-interest gets challenged. So it's a very important principle. I think yesterday we were discussing about that even in the high, secure highway of devotional service, we can also be attacked by these dacoits and plunderers that are considered the six anger, lust, greed, what's the other one? Envy, all these, plunderers, enemies. So these enemies, they can attack even a devotee who is there going in the royal road of devotional service. You can also be attacked and plundered. And the question yesterday is, what are they steal from you? And then we see here that in the purport is a very nice, we can, add to that discussion that our Acharya says that we receive from the spiritual master something very, very special, which is this higher taste, this desire to engage in devotional service. These plunders, these enemies, they take away that higher taste and replace it with envy or this type of thing. So we have to be very vigilant. Yesterday, the conclusion was that you have to be very vigilant to these things. And Krishna says that these enemies, they actually, in the conditioned souls, they have conquered and set quarters in three spaces in the conditioned souls: the mind, the intelligence, and the senses, in the third chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. So we know where they are, and we have to basically take care of that. Any comments or questions? I don't think there's anything broken. Yeah, in one sense, it's the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, and that is explained in the past tense of Lord Chaitanya, that in the glorifications of Lord Chaitanya, that he broke down the storefront of love of Godhead, and he just delivered. There's another analogy that he opens the floodgates and then inundated the whole place and let everybody drown. So there's these images, that are given by our Vaishnava acharyas of Lord Chaitanya's mission. And by Lord Chaitanya's mercy, then people like us are able to receive this incredible, as you say, this opportunity, that how in the world, you be qualified to get something like this. But we can be ever grateful with that. And especially, I think it's very appropriate that today we meditate on that in the appearance day of Lord Chaitanya, and with a heart full of gratitude, we pray for truly understanding and appreciating um, the great fortune of receiving this opportunity that is very rare in one sense. And yeah, and it's so beautiful how it's designed and how it's given to us, that even with such a thick condition, material condition, then if we simply stick to the process, and one of the things that it says here is that if key that I may be very, very challenged in trying to control my mind and my senses, but if I sincerely devote myself to my spiritual master, it's going to happen. It's going to happen is assured. The word that is used is assured that you will control your mind if we have that type of faith. So it is, and it is something that it unfolds. I mean, we have that experience, personal experience. It's like, you go into this progressive path of peeling layers, and then something gets revealed and something start to opens, as we start to peel stuff. But you still have to peel the stuff. And yesterday you were quoting, it's very nice, His Holiness Sachinandana Swami, saying that the process of peeling is not comfortable, and at times embarrassing too, because you peel and you reveal, oh my God, you get surprised. This stuff doesn't smell well. It's like you find out something rotten in there. So, but the fact that you're actually uncovering these things and and being connected to the spiritual master maintains you in a mood of humility, and also you appreciate and you become grateful, grateful, no? Gratitude, and for what is given to you. So yeah, is quite something. I think it's very appropriate to end with that. That we can take shelter of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Chaitanya's mercy, and through the mercy of the spiritual master. So thank you so much. Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Grantra Shriman Bhagavatam ki jai, Shishikor Purnima ki jai, Gaura Pramanandi.